So welcome to the Node.js Node API team meeting for October 20th, 2023. We will go through our standard approach of looking at things that are tagged in the agenda. So let me pull that up. And I will share screen. Go. I think the first one is, does anybody have any news that we should share?
Well, do you referring to the VH changes or the?
I was thinking this one right here, anything new that we should publicize or want to let people know about. Okay, if not, then yeah, let's move on to anything on the tracking changes, anything on that front that's worth discussing, Shenzhen?
Yeah, right. The PR has been revised on the top of the main branch. So, and the CI has passed. So it's probably we can get another review on the PR since we have changed the code after we got approval. So yeah, it will be great if anyone can take a look on it, and then it will be ready to go.
Okay. What was the major thing that changed? I guess it's in the commits, isn't it? Right? Maybe. No, there's one.
Well, yeah, there is only a single commit in the PR, and the primary change is updating the returning status of these APIs that may invoke proxy handlers. So yeah, so that's right.
Yeah, I just meant since the last time it was implemented, like you said, it needed to be changed. It was changed. Was it was there anything particular you can point to that was changed versus last time, or is it just the whole thing that we should look at again?
Oh, I mean, the code itself is not changed since last time. We just based on the top of the main branch. So yeah, everything is going well.
Okay, so I mean, I think in that case, we don't really need a new review, right? Because it's the same code changes.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
So yeah, no, I from my perspective, unless there's something, and I guess it's just a matter of is the CI. So yeah, and the CI is all passed. So it seems to me seems like it should be good to go.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. I guess should this be marked as don't backport?
Oh yeah, right. Since we didn't backport the V8 commit to previous LTS line, so we probably don't want to backport this PR as well.
So that's the 21, right?
It will be 18 and 20.
18 and 20. Okay, so
yeah,
I'll just add those two. And so, but for 21, it can be back.
Yeah, I'll check if 21 contains the commit that we need. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. I don't think we have an update on the C language bindings, full coverage, or debug testing. So I'm going to go look just at stale issues. I don't think we have too many there, so I don't think there's anything really to discuss there either, unless somebody has something they want to bring up. In which case we can flip into the issues in the Node.js repo. Let's just go over there. So Gabriel, you opened this one. I guess it's no longer experimental.
Yeah, it hasn't been in a while, like in all supported versions. I think we can skip the experimental. This was part of me figuring out how to build against the thing that I have in PR and core, which is introducing those two different kinds of environments. And the first thing I found was that if I put experimental in the JIP, because I want to put both of those flags into the binding.jip for the tests, so that I can run or try to build the tests with those two flags, was that, well, it's already defined in this file, so therefore compilation failed. So yeah, we should probably get rid of it from here, because it
Okay.
hasn't been experimental in a long time.
And it's in all versions greater than 5?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, okay, so if somebody builds against some, really old version of node.js, which we have long since stopped supporting, then yes, it will fail to compile, but we have long since stopped supporting it.
But it already has this check, right? Like, I
Yeah,
guess
exactly.
in my
yeah.
mind, as long as we promoted big int in something that was before 5, then the check is right. If, for example, big int was experimental and we promoted in 6, then maybe that check should change, right?
Right. Yeah. So I this will only fail to compile on those versions of Node.js wherein we were on version 6 and it was still experimental, I guess, if there is even such a version. So yeah, this check may always be false. I'm not sure. I'd have to check if ever we had a version 6 wherein this feature was still experimental.
That's sort of the question, like, because it may be that's what I was kind of validating, like maybe that nappy version should be bumped to 6 or something, or whatever.
Actually, that's a good point. Let's check the actual header, right? Like the JS native API header, because like if in the
yes, you're right, it's 6
native
actually.
API header begin.
So
Okay,
So then we
equal to
definitely
6.
don't need the experimental.
So, but this should be, okay, it's
Yeah.
greater than 5, so which 6 would cover, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. 6 and up.
Okay, so
Okay,
we
so
just
we released big int as part of 6. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, it's based on the header file I see right now. Just
Oh, okay. So you were already looking at the header file. Cool.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I was going to do exactly that.
It says
Okay.
an API version more or equal to 6. So it sounds like it was released in.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so that means this is correct, right? Like the
Yes.
nappy 5 is correct, and so okay, I'm good. Add mine, since we just confirmed it looks good. This is just otherwise, I don't think there's anything really here. Anything? Go ahead.
There's Changzhong's Jippy thing.
Yeah,
This one,
the
okay,
JIP
right, yep.
target. Yeah, right. I have updated the PR to avoid introducing breaking changes, even though the node.aron API.jip is not used anymore, but I'm going to leave it here and introducing an additional entry to the index.js. So let's call it target. Then we can get targets from the entry point. You can see the examples in the setup.md. Yeah, I have updated the setup.md so that people can go straight with the simpler way to define the necessary setups to enable, like say, C++ exception or the maybe wrap, things like that.
Okay, so this basically, I see, so it lets you define either of those. Those are the two that you've added support for to start with. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, that looks good. Does anybody, any other questions or comments? I guess, Gabriel, you had a few questions before, but maybe they're already,
My main question was, do we absolutely need to reuse this .jip property? And Changzhong has addressed that, so I'm gonna take another look and almost certainly approve.
Sounds good. So yeah, so that one, sorry, I missed that one, but looks like we're good to go on that one too. Under issues. Any discussion going on here? Yeah, I guess this one was interesting that there's a problem depending on the Xcode version.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this would be easy to reproduce, honestly. I'm happy if Xcode works at all, so I'd rather not start messing with versions and stuff.
I'm hoping to get M1 sometimes, but I don't have it yet.
Yeah, I don't have one either, so it's
But I have an M1 Mac, but I don't have a Intel Mac, so probably it will be hard to test.
I have an Intel Mac, so technically I have several. So I think like the problem was the same that if you cross compile on M1 for x64, so if you can give him bits, I can check on mine. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Right. What's
okay.
issue?
Yeah, so this is issue 1391. So I guess just if anybody has some time to take a look or otherwise I don't see anything new. Is there anything else we should chat about on this front? No, I will flip over to Node. And I will look at things that are tagged with. Oh, no, I didn't want that. Get rid of this PR. So here's something quite new. This is actually adding a new function.
Right. It seems like it is. I remember like a few months ago, it was discussion about how we can. It was an issue how we can make object creation faster, but it seems like another developer created very similar issue recently, and this PR is actually kind of connected to these ideas and this new issue.
Okay.
My personal opinion, because I was kind of brainstorming on this original issue about kind of speed and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see how this PR makes it faster. It would be nice to see some maybe numbers from developer, but technically one of the proposals before being like to make it faster is to use internalized strings. In this PR, they still using normal string. I believe it will be extra job, extra work actually will happen to creating this property. The only kind of difference from existing method we have today, existing method using UTF-8 string, and this one proposes to use UTF-16 string. But we technically can create UTF-16 string using different method and use another one, like just creating this, using this string as an API value. I don't see how this specific new extra method will make it faster, unless it will use this internalized string. It's probably, if this PR would change one single property constant from normal string to internalized strings, it would probably make it better. I'm referring to this line 1127.
Right. Now the question would be, why wouldn't we just change that in our existing thing?
Our existing one, which takes from string, is using UTF-8. So technically, we discussed like adding a set of methods which will do it for both UTF-16 and UTF-8. Remember we discussed it optimize.
Okay, so but it would be like, because today so today our set property is from a value, right? Is that, we've got the value from, so like, okay, so let me just find.
Yeah, we
have-
want the
we have-
named property. We
have
want an
named
API set named property.
Right.
I think
And we
that's
should
what
probably
we're
also
looking
use this new class created by Gabriel. We have effectively have special class
for. Oh,
for
the new string. Yeah, the new string thing. Yeah.
right.
Right, like we have these set property, right? So is this the only existing set property, or is there?
No, there's a set named property there.
Okay. Set
So-
named property, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and that one takes UTF-8, or that one constructs a UTF-8 string. So, but again, please remind me why we're not using internalized strings everywhere, like in our existing APIs. Would it be a breaking change to go from normal to internalized?
So what I believe we need to add new functions which create new internalized strings.
Okay, but like at some point we are calling v8 string new from UTF-8, right? And that function takes a parameter, either normal or internalized. If we go in there and just edit it to go from normal to internalized, what are the implications of that?
No,
It would change the
this
existing
function-
implementation.
Yeah, for this function, it will be just pure optimization without breaking any existing code.
Well, then we should do it.
But
Yeah.
the thing actually, this developers trying to address, like, what if we want to have UTF-16 string?
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, I understand. I understand the need for a new API, and it should probably be called, set, instead of an API set property UTF-16 should be called an API set named property UTF-16. But that's just a minor thing. What we call it, it's just for consistency. But I think the more important thing here is if we just switch from normal to internalized, it should. If we get like basically a free boost with no implications for stability, then we should definitely go for that.
Right. All right.
Right, so I don't know, if one of you two want to jump in and make those comments, like in terms of the naming and the, like, basically this 1127 should be the set to the right thing, right?
I just want us to be on the same page. Gabriel, my proposal actually, instead of adding this new function like this, I would rather propose creating new, using this internalized. If we create a new API, I would propose it to be kind of functions which create a new string, like rather using it only here. The reason is actually, if you're able to create new internalized string, in this case, you can cache it, you can reuse it. So it's the whole idea that you have some kind of, imagine you have to create multiple objects, and all these objects using exactly the same property. If you creating this internalized strings one, so you can reuse it for creating all these multiple objects. Whereas like in this approach, even we create this new internalized string every single time, it will be still perf hit.
Right.
But isn't that what an API set property is for? Where you create an API value that is the key, and then you pass that same value in over and over and over again, and you don't have to create all those strings. You're basically reusing what is already a V8 string, internalized or not. So
But
if you have to set the same property on many objects, you just use an API set property, and then you don't end up creating all those strings.
But think about like if you create non-internalized string, every time you use it in this function, it will be required to create internalized string every single time, or at least search for it every single time, because the way
Right. I
Because
think what,
I see, I understand. Okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
like, I think Vladimir, what you're suggesting is that like we create a version of these, which is like NAPI create optimized string.
yes.
NAPI create optimized string UTF-8 and NAPI create optimized UTF-8, because that can mean whatever for the engine, right? Like if the engine doesn't have any optimizations, it'll just give you back a regular string.
Mhm.
You can do it internalized. It'll do it internalized. And then the existing methods actually are all we need, right? Because once you can create those with the right way, it doesn't mean we shouldn't potentially optimize our existing one, but that's kind of it would mean we wouldn't add a new one, right?
Oh, I see. Okay. I understand. So for Node APIs which accept a car star or a uint16 star or whatever our type is, for those it doesn't make sense that they be internalized because it's going to be a new internalized string every time, indistinguishable from another one. So there's no optimization there. But for those methods which create strings and return an NAPI value, which really is a string, for those, it makes sense to create a variety that is optimized, because then when the add-on developer reuses that value, then the engine will have a hint that where that value is and will render the resulting action faster.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, yes. Okay, so we need a new set of APIs for creating strings, which we call optimized, as you said, Michael. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. We should document this thoroughly, that these APIs are optimized in the sense that reusing the string for things like set property is a very good use case because it'll render large amounts of property setting faster. And getting too, right? And getting them would be faster too, right?
Not necessarily. The way it works, like whenever V8 sets new property, it needs to use effectively some kind of address from this internalized string table, right? So technically, if we have internalized string, it has effectively this pointer. It already kind of embedded inside of string. So technically, it does not need to search. It just checks this flag. Is it internalized string? If yes, it just uses. If it's not, then it do this lookup and finds actually internalized strings based on whatever is given. So it needs to do with hashing and needs to do extra work.
Okay, got it. Okay,
I guess
all right.
It's basically for strings that we believe will be used often, right?
Often as a kind of keys as a property names. So instead of optimize, we can say like a key string or property name string.
Yeah, if we want to make it that specific, right? Like, because we don't want to say internalized because that's a very V8 specific thing, but like it's how optimized in how specific a way do we want to make it. We could put the name as like optimized for being a key, or we could put something more generic if that makes sense.
Actually, that's not bad. We could say Node API create key UTF-8, create key UTF-16, and so forth. If being a key is what what its where its advantage lies.
Right.
So and I mean the documentation would say that it is a string and can be used as any other string. However, we called it a key rather than a string because it has this property of sort of enhancing the performance of property assignments.
Yeah, it would be like the engine may choose to optimize
exactly
that particular use case.
Yeah,
right?
For property assignment. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we can suggest a use case in the examples, that kind of thing.
So yeah, it sounds like maybe Vladimir, you'll comment in that issue that kind of says, well, this isn't really the API we want. We'd like these other new APIs instead.
Okay, I'll do.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
And I can prototype with, I can create this optimized strings APR. So we can.
Yeah, it might be good to give the original, like this person, the opportunity to do those two methods, just because they've done some work to do a PR.
Okay, let me comment there and say like what we discussed. Just to be on the same page, we would propose to create a new free strings, free functions.
Yeah.
Create Latin1 key, UTF-8, UTF-16 key, and actually, yeah. Okay.
And then just ask them like, hey, would you like to change this PR to do that? And if they don't respond or say no, then yeah, if you can go ahead and do it, would be great. But otherwise, I think giving them the opportunity to say, okay, I'll refactor what I've got into that would be great.
So sorry, I probably lost the thread somewhere. So why don't we just change an API create string UTF-8 to create internalized strings always?
No, we can do it too, but it will be not the ultimate solution to have optimized creation of properties.
Because you don't share the result.
And
well, yes, you do. You return the NAPI value, right? Which is a string, which if we make this change would be an internalized string. And so then you call NAPI set property with an NAPI value, which is now an internalized string because we changed the implementation. And you call that many times, and you're using an internalized string many times, as if you had called the new API. I don't understand why we need to create a new set.
If the string size is really, really great, and the add-on is not going to use the string as a object property key, then the internalization will come with a performance penalty, since the internalization will need computation, right? So
yes.
I see.
Making every string an internalized string will come with performance penalty for strings with really great length. Yeah.
Okay, understood. Okay. Yeah. So there's an initial setup cost for a subsequent benefit if used in a certain way. Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we don't want everyone that's created to be that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. We'd be bogging down everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of like, right. Okay, so I think we're all in those same wavelengths.
Yep.
Okay. Back to the list.
Is it okay to ask developers to write the description in English instead of I don't know which language they use?
Looks like Turkish, but yeah, definitely. I hope there won't be a language barrier because it'll be difficult to engage with this person.
I mean, like, do we have something in node.js community saying that we generally prefer to use English for?
Well, I think the documentation needs to be in English. So it's reasonable to ask for documentation, right? Like, we're adding a method, we need documentation for it, and
and a test
be in English.
Okay.
This one, thanks, Gabriel, for going through. I incorporated all changes, and I think I've also incorporated all of Vladimir's, your suggestions and stuff too. We could probably maybe open an issue here. In terms of discussing, like, or we could discuss a little bit now, like deprecating older versions.
Yeah, but I mean, do we have a concrete list that we are the first list we are going to deprecate it? If not, it will be, let's say, guys that need to be deprecated, and we are discussing deprecating something, right?
Yeah, I'm never really, like, we've kind of said it's ABI stable, right? So if we say we're going to deprecate a Node API version at some point, then the answer is it's no longer ABI stable, right? So I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, even if we are going to deprecate something, the first step will be document deprecating rather than removing the API from the node.js binary.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think, like, so kind of like, because of our new approach, I think what Vladimir was suggesting is, like, we're now going to have to support multiple implementations, right? So, like, for 9, we may actually have different behavior for particular methods that say, like, hey, if I'm 9, I'm doing this. If I'm 8, I'm doing something different, right? And over time, that could build up. I'm thinking we're going to try and keep that to a fairly small set. Like most of our code will just be the same for all the different versions. So supporting the old versions won't really cost us anything, right? It's only in those smaller cases where we have a runtime check. And I'm kind of thinking we should keep that to a small set, and in which case it hopefully won't be a big issue to continue supporting the different versions.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Like with this mechanism, we may be tempted to solve things in what previously would have been considered a semver major way, right? So we shouldn't shy away from creating new APIs if that's a good solution, if it means that, especially if it means that we don't need to add all these runtime checks.
Right.
You know, because with these runtime checks, we're effectively writing new APIs, but putting them behind a single interface and switching between them as if they were two separate APIs, but we're doing it for the user.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should definitely keep that to a minimum and only for very good reasons.
Yeah. So basically for the things that really, you know, there's a benefit. So that's where my take is kind of like, hopefully that won't build up. And, you know, I'd prefer not to talk about not being ABI compatible, because that's kind of one of the main things that we've said is going to be the case.
Yeah, and I think we can stop at document deprecation, because we genuinely believe that, you know, using that API is a suboptimal solution. You can continue using it for as long as you want, but we do indicate that it is deprecated.
So that kind of yeah, right.
So I think document deprecation is the highest level that we can go with deprecation, given our API stability sort of pledge.
Yeah, agreed. But I would refrain from documenting deprecation until we have a concrete list of APIs that we are actually going to deprecate. Then we will not add unnecessary confusion to people that some API stable are going to be deprecated, right?
Yeah, I agree. I would agree. It's like, let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, sounds good. I just want to kind of bring a discussion point. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good to
just to speak up about this scenario.
Okay, so I think on that one covered all the comments, so people can take another look. And I think then I don't see anything too new, unless there's existing other ones that people want to have us bring up and talk about. This one. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one we have just discussed. It's ready to go.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to bring up the PR Gabriel is working on. It's about the non-JC environment.
Yep.
And I've commented on the PR that some API I found that it might not be suitable for the case of non-JC, since this API itself have an implication to call JavaScript. So it might not be appropriate to mark them as non-JC.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, yeah, we can. Yeah, I can definitely change that back, because I wasn't sure. The only thing I was going by the ones where Vladimir added the GC check, and I just went one-on-one with those. But it makes sense that an API get CB info shouldn't take a pure environment, because, well, I mean, why would you ever call that from a finalizer? You don't have access to the CB info in a finalizer.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, unless you do crazy things like like store the CB info. Well, no, not even. No, okay, never mind. So yeah, okay, I'll change that. And I think callback scope is the same thing because you're already inside what is essentially a JavaScript stack at that point. There's no other way to
exactly, and
reach
it
that
will
point.
trigger, async hooks in JavaScript. So it will eventually call them into JavaScript.
Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, all right, yeah, I'll definitely make this change and then I'll ask you to please take a look afterwards.
Good stuff. Thank you for working on it.
Okay, any others that we should chat about? One that might be good, node add-on examples. You know, this one right here. Matthew was here last time with us. I did take a look and I think it's looking pretty good to me. Like when you look at the way the organization is, it seems to me is like an improvement in terms of being able to understand what's going on. So like there was a couple I just like this one I think belongs underneath source as well. But you could see kind of like there's like a getting started. So anyway, I just to say if other people could take a look as well and chime in if that looks good to you or not, and because I think that would probably end up being quite helpful.
Excellent.
Any others that people think we should take a look at? If not, I'll say thanks for everybody's time this week, and we'll see you in GitHub next time.
Yep. Talk
See you.
to y'all next week.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See everybody later. Bye.